Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Covering both sides of the big issues with the analysis you trust on News Radio 1040 WHO.
10:22 is the time. Need to know with Jeff Angels. The program this hour, we're talking about the indoctrination of our kids in schools. And along those lines, a Texas teacher has just been fired for telling her students they need to stop calling pedophiles pedophiles. They need to call them minor attracted persons. My next guest is a survivor of child sexual abuse, Jenna Quinn, and it's safe to say that Jenna feels pretty strongly about this story. Jenna, welcome to Iowa Radio. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me, Jeff.
You bet. So, Jenna, this is obviously a cause, a child sexual abuse that you are passionate about. What do you think about this teacher saying we got to call pedophiles minor attracted persons?
You know what? There is so much to unpack here in just the two short statements that she made. I mean, this is disturbing on so many levels. And I have to say, as a Texan, I do applaud the Texas School Board for taking such swift action on what was said, because language is powerful. Language is a very powerful tool. And as soon as you start to euphemize something, you know, and try to normalize it and through language, so to speak, it takes away the criminality of what this horrible, sick, evil crime is, right?
Right. And Jenna, since this is an issue, of course, close to your heart, you talk about it all the time. You've seen the same thing I've seen in the media lately. Like, there's a real effort underway to do this, isn't there?
You know what? Unfortunately, there is. And it just makes me sick to my stomach. And I have to say, I have not met a survivor that is okay with this.
Right.
You know, I mean, there are so many of us. So it's estimated there's 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys that are sexually abused before the age of 18. And so for us to go and start changing the language, I mean, many of us are outraged about this. And so, yeah, it's you know, language is powerful. And, you know, the other thing, too, is that she's a teacher. So the state, the community, the institution of the school has entrusted her to be a steward of the youth that she teaches, to shape their young minds. And also, as a teacher, she's a mandatory reporter, right?
Yeah.
So she is supposed to, by law, report the very things that she is suggesting is okay to have fantasies about. So I applaud the Texas School Board, because we should really have a zero tolerance even on something like language like this, because language is powerful. And as soon as you start entertaining, you know, the thought or idea that something isn't as bad as it is, you're on a very disturbing, slippery slope.
Well, and that's what I think about it, Jenna. I mean, you are a survivor of child sexual abuse, and it just seems to me ultimately, if you are a predator, you want to believe that no harm is being done to the child involved. And you can speak to this from your background experience. This is what pedophiles want to think and want everybody to think about what they do, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. The pedophiles, the sex offender, the serial rapist, they are really excited about this term, because there are groups, for people that don't know or understand. You know, I live this world. I've been in this field as an advocate. I do prevention trainings all over the country. Jenna's Law legislation, the Jenna Quinn Law federal legislation at the federal level is named after me. So I've been fighting this war for 18 years to prevent. And let me tell you, our culture is starting to fight against the efforts for child protection. And this is really, really scary. But this is not the first time I've had questions about this. This is not the first time I have had to give comments about this. This has been in the making for quite a while. And what's even more disturbing is that now it has seeped into the school systems. Okay, it's different, you know, so to speak, if it's in other communities that exist, like the Lamba community, like the Man Boy Love, and the other different communities that are out there that support pedophilia. But it's seeped into now our Texas school system, or our school systems in general. So that's I think, probably more concerning to see how far this has come into our cultures that protect children.
Jenna, I'm glad you said that because I feel like, I don't want to be alarmist, but it does feel like we're slipping backwards on this issue. You know, that
Yeah.
it would be something that 10 years ago I wouldn't imagine having this conversation with you. And this is not just an isolated case. There's been professors that have been forced to resign for saying the same thing. Minor attracted persons become a phrase.
Yes.
We're slipping backwards on this. Why is this happening?
Yeah, we're slipping backwards on this. And the thing is, too, there's a couple important things I want to make sure that I say. So, there's so many things that are wrong with her statements. The first is child sexual abuse is judged in the court of law. Yeah. You know, she says don't judge someone just because they want to have sex with a 5-year-old. Well, I'm sorry, but child sexual abuse is judged in the court of law. Let's not try to decriminalize that, please.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
Secondly, there is no such thing as having sex with a child because that would imply consent.
Right.
Okay? It's child rape. It's the rape of a child. So we need to make sure that we are getting our language right in the first place on this so that we aren't, continuing down this horrible slippery slope. And the other thing is, too, is like I said, I've been fighting this war, for 18 years. And you can go on my website, jennaquinn.org. We have a nonprofit, Reveal to Heal, as well, that is doing trainings for, survivors, survivor care, for parents, for school institutions, and so forth on, how do we protect our kids in person and online. But here's the deal. We have advocates like myself. There are many of us, and institutions, nonprofits, even government agencies. You have NCMEC, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. A lot of these institutions are fighting this war, okay? And we've been fighting this war for a long time to protect children and youth. But then on the other side of the bridge, we have people that are trying to desensitize us to this crime through language. It feels like they're fighting us. It's like this should not be tolerated in any way, shape, or form.
I totally agree, and it has to be shocking that we have to talk about this, but we have to talk about it. That is Jenna Quinn. I got a feeling Jenna and I will be talking again in the future. Jenna, thanks for your passion and bringing your experience and your commentary to the program.